Welcome to Innovators Unscripted, the podcast for innovators by innovators. Today, Tina and I are so excited to welcome not only an innovator, but a new Googler as well. We are so excited to introduce Mariana Mendes from Brazil. And so I'm hoping you can start off just by introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about who you are and where you're coming to us from.
Yeah, thank you both for, this podcast, this opportunity of, sharing our stories with other innovators to be. So I'm really happy to be here. Well, I'm based in Brazil. I was born in Goiás, a small state in Brazil, and now I live in São Paulo, where my cohort was hosted in 2024. So I'm from BRZ 24, and I'm a teacher. First of all, I'm a teacher. I'm an educator. I've worked as a teacher for 20 years or more, a little bit more now, and I hold a PhD in linguistics. I'm now doing my postdoc on AI literacy for educators. And I work for Google for Education as an impact manager for Latin America. So it's like a total plot twist, which I guess we'll go over during this conversation.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. It sounds like you wear so many hats. You've had so many accomplishments already. It actually leads perfectly into our little kind of icebreaker question that we like to know. When you look at your device, what is your browser tab confession? Can you tell us maybe about how many tabs you have open right now? I mean, just from what you described, I imagine there's quite a few, and maybe a weird one or a random one that you currently have.
Yeah, I actually have more than 20, and four of them are group tabs. So it's probably 50 if you count the ones that are hidden in this group. And I would say that the most random one right now is the Bad Bunny playlist on YouTube, because I went to the concert on Saturday, so I'm still obsessed about it.
That is amazing. Like right now, I'm from New Mexico, here in the United States, and all of the students, like everywhere, that is like the thing is they all have
Mhm.
Bad Bunny playlists and everything up and everywhere. So I wanna rewind. Let's go to our Academy rewind real quick to Brazil 2024. So for listeners who aren't part of the cohort, obviously, let's set the scene. Now you're a cool Googler right now, but back then, where were you at in your career then, and what was the challenge that you had when you walked into that academy?
Well, I was working in a school as an English teacher and also AI literacy teacher. I had a special group for high school students where I used to teach AI literacy. I was getting ready to turn into a professor, a university professor, because that was the plan during the whole time. I did my PhD and I wanted to become a professor. So I was worried about the issues that my fellow professors were facing, which was how to translate the methodologies and the theories, the pedagogy into real practice into their classes, because most of the professors in higher education, they were not trained to be teachers. They were like trained to be engineers or doctors or whatever other stuff they were doing before, and then they had to teach lessons to a lot of people, and they don't know how to do it. So that was my focus, because that's what I wanted to be, like a professor. So my question was, how might we translate pedagogy methodologies into real life actionable things for professors?
That's amazing. So now tell us about that step. Did it start with the academy? Where did you naturally find yourself connecting with someone from Google, and then that progressed into this Google space? Was there someone from the academy that you like learned alongside with and that morphed into Google? Like, what's that in between step of going from that idea of your project to being a professor to kind of where you are now?
Well, I was always very engaged into the ecosystem, we can say so, because when I moved to São Paulo, I was already a trainer and I started working for a PD partner as a trainer. So I worked for 3 years in this partner. I met a lot of people from Google during this period because I was there a lot, hosting events with the customers or um, giving lectures or something like that. But then when I left the PD partner and got back to school, I didn't want to lose this connection, so I kept registering for everything about GG, trainer summits, champion symposium, whatever there was. I was there. I registered. I participated. The webinars, everything, and then we had the symposium in 2023. I was there and I knew that I wanted to be an innovator, but I didn't really know how. So when the time came, I prepared myself as if I was going to do a very hard test, because it is a hard test. You have to prove yourself in a bunch of different ways. And I studied, I prepared. I had a notebook where I wrote my ideas, the post-its all over my wall, and I talked to a bunch of people. And I guess during the cohort, people from Google could get to know me better because we had a lot of Googlers at the time. And when the opportunity came, my name was mentioned by someone who was there and saw me working, saw me at action. So that was it. Now I'm here.
That is
That's
so
awesome.
inspiring. It just seems like you didn't necessarily have a particular path in mind. I mean, it sounded like you were going down this road towards being like a university
Hmm.
professor,
Yeah.
but then you saw this light, this window, and you wanted to do anything you could to just get close to be a part of it. It's so funny the innovator symbol is a light bulb because it's that ideal light bulb, but it's also that like light of hope of like we can take these problems and I mean with such a platform as Google, like you can actually do some things about it. And so you saw that light, not necessarily knowing where it was going to lead, but knowing that you wanted to be a part of it. And I think that that's so inspiring for not only innovators, just for people in general. That's what a great path and story. And so I'm wondering, you went into the academy with this problem around pedagogy, and I wonder when you moved into this new role, if you found that same problem kind of stretching and evolving to adapt to in your new role at Google, or did you kind of shift your focus to new problems, new things?
Yeah, I guess we have new problems every day. If there is one thing that we learn during the cohort is that you need to embrace failure. You need to understand that you are an ongoing project. It's never going to end. You will present your project when the time comes. You will celebrate a metaphorical ending, but it's never ending. It's a progress. It's a continuous progress. And something that I learned during the academy was that I had to embrace failure. I could make mistakes as fast as possible so I could readjust my path and take different decisions to get to different results. And I guess I learned to dare, dare to, be bold, dare to speak up, dare to feel uncomfortable, because we are not used to being uncomfortable. We want to be comfortable all the time. And I learned during the academy, I felt uncomfortable most of the time. I wanted to cry. I wanted to hate people. I wanted to leave. I just wanted to be home in silence. But at the end, I figured that was the most important thing. Even if I didn't finish my project, I would feel successful because I learned to embrace failure. And we had, let me show you, we had this little thing here. Can you see it? It's it's
A
like
little bell, like a
a little bell, yeah. And every time we changed our minds during the academy, we would press this button and ring the bell, and everyone would know that someone pivoted during the academy. So we heard this bell a lot of times during those 3 days.
I love that. The more you're talking to us, and so just to let you know, for all of the speakers out there, we all got on a few minutes before this started, and like she got this cool box and like a neat shirt, and now they're talking about how they ring a bell, and I'm like, dude, like, not that ours wasn't bad, but like the ours wasn't good. Ours was really cool, but I'm like, I want a bell now. I'm gonna go get a pivot bell that everyone's gonna hear from this point on, going forward in my office, but. Going back to what you were saying about sitting in the uncomfortable, right? And thinking about failing and pivoting some ideas. What I'm interested from hearing about you is you were saying that your main challenge was going in there looking at AI literacy, right? Like AI literacy for educators. And then you were just talking about having a postdoc for AI literacy for educators. So I guess my question becomes like, now that you're done with the Brazil Academy, what what did you learn there from pivoting and going through that whole entire process that you're now bringing to that space of writing that postdoc or working on AI literacy right now?
Well, one thing I've learned, and I try to bring that with my, like in my role too, is that what I think is important or what I think is necessary might not be the same thing as that other people feel necessary or important. And also sometimes I hear that a lot from trainers and champions in general. They feel like what they know is too little or too simple, and it's not worth sharing because it's too basic. But what is too basic for me might be the innovation for someone else. So I guess what I learned in this process, and even in my postdoc and my like it's kind of hard to separate right now what where my postdoc ends and my work starts because it's very interconnected. It's to listen to teachers needs and meet them where they are, because we are at very different levels of AI literacy or ed tech literacy in general. And sometimes what I know might not be as much as I wanted to know, but it's enough to help someone else, and we can learn together. And I guess that's the beauty of the community, the champions community. And when you are an innovator, you are part of this community, is that you don't need to know everything, but you will probably meet someone who does know something that you don't. So it's like a puzzle that when they meet, they just match. It's like that.
That is a perfect analogy. That I mean, that's very well said. I couldn't have put it better. And I just think about the trust that we have in this professional community across the Google Education Champions and the Innovator program, because for like you said, like we know things, but no one knows everything. And for us to have the humility and the trust in the community to know that we can admit when we don't know things and say thank you to people who have taught us something new, even if they thought it was something, like you said, like something that you think is trivial or silly, might be really impactful for someone else because it might be that puzzle piece they have been missing in their work or in their project. And I think that's one of the amazing things about this community is not only the willingness and the patience to share, but also that the humility to be able to say, oh, I need to know that I'm going to ask for help. And I know that someone on the other side in this community will be there. And so I'm
Yeah.
curious now, you like are living the dream, like the literal dream of many Google champions. And in just 6 months after being in the academy, you went into this new role as a Google Impact Manager. So I'm curious, are there any specific skills that you developed as an educator that you now feel yourself like pulling on and using in your day-to-day work in this like new corporate position?
Well, I guess no one is better than solving challenges every day than educators. We are incredible listeners. So, and we also plan ahead, not only the good things, but also for things that could go wrong. So we are always thinking ahead, which gives us the opportunity to plan for both success or failure. So if nothing goes as expected, we know what to do faster than other people might. And what I guess is the most, when I joined the team, I have to confess to you, when I heard about this position, a friend of mine who worked at Google, he said, "Well, there is this position, and I think it fits perfectly to you." And I was no, actually, the first time he called me, he said, "Oh, there is this position. Do you know anyone who could be interested on it?" And when I was reading the job description, I was, "Oh my God, it's me. I check all the boxes." And I said, "Well, it looks like I do." I looked at me in the mirror, and there she is. And he was ha ha ha, and I ha 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 back at him. And I sent other people's resumes because I didn't feel I was capable enough, or you know those that syndrome, that the imposter syndrome that we all have, like, it's not for me. He's just asking for recommendations, so he's not asking for my resume. He doesn't want to talk. He was not talking about me. I'm a teacher. What is a teacher going to do at Google? And after like 2 weeks, he called me again and said, "Remember that position I talked to you about? Well, I didn't want to insist, but it's for you, I guess. I guess it's your number." And I
Oh,
said, "Oh, oh, me? Really? Okay." So I sent my resume, my LinkedIn, and whatever. And a few weeks after that, I was saying goodbye to my school and joining the team. But it took me a really long time to realize it was for me, because I didn't you said that it's like the dream, but it's a dream that is so far from our perspective that we don't even consider possible. So yeah, it was amazing. And I guess uh, I bring my teacher skills every day to the table. And people do mention that as like, how did you anticipate these problems, or how did you anticipate the questions our users will have with our tools? And because I train teachers, I know how they will behave, I know what they need. So it's different. And I am very thankful for that. This 20 years before as an educator prepared me for the big dream.
That is amazing. I think you fit in there absolutely brilliantly. I'm so glad that that happened for you. I'm so glad that you had someone there to support you as well. To like, they probably had you in their mind the entire time, right? That it was like this,
Yeah.
it's her. She just has to get to that point where she realizes it's her. So you did come from a very specific small school community to supporting educators all across Latin America. So tell us a little bit more about your job as an impact coordinator, because in the Google realm, like what is an impact coordinator, and going from small space to upscaling, what's been the hardest part about trying to go from a small school community to an impact coordinator now across this massive diverse region?
Well, I guess First, what I do as an impact manager is I am responsible for the communities of educators. So, the Google Champions community, which embodies innovators, trainers, coaches, GEG leaders. I'm responsible for them. I look after them. Usually tell that I was in a 40 students classroom, and now I'm in a 40 countries classroom, because it's very different, of course, and it's very overwhelming sometimes, because as a teacher you need to worry about your students feelings, your students feeling comfortable, and I guess about their learning process, their learning experience as a whole. And as an impact manager, I have to do pretty much the same thing, but I have to consider very diverse situations. So I have teachers in different time zones who speak different languages, who work in different school systems. And the first thing that I worried about is to speak the same language as the teachers I talk to. And when I talk about language, is literally the language. So I could speak Spanish already, but I've been trying to improve my Spanish because of these teachers. Brazil is the only country that doesn't speak Spanish in the region. So I had to push myself into improving my Spanish, because I didn't want to translate. I didn't want my teachers, the educators, the champions that I look after, to have to translate everything. It's very US centric, and I wanted them to feel welcomed and seen as a community. So, and that is something interesting about this cohort that we are having in Brazil, that this will be the first cohort where we are joining the whole region. It's not only for Brazilian educators, it will be for Latin American educators. So we will have Portuguese and Spanish for the first time, because we usually have to separate one for Spanish, another one for Portuguese. But now we are only one region. So I guess the cultural awareness is the hardest part, because I have to learn about other people's culture, what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, how is their educational system organized, so I can fit our resources, our tools into this system, and talk to them in the same language that they speak, literally and metaphorically.
You are amazing. Oh my goodness. I think that's the common theme from this whole conversation is I am just I am so inspired by you and the way that you can adapt your thinking and you just see every new challenge and every new opportunity and you just grab it and go for it. And I mean learning a new language and perfecting a new language as an adult and just the empathy that I see from you for this community that you love so much. I just listening to you talk now just shows even more how perfect you are for this job and the
Oh,
love that
thank
you
you.
have for not only like the organization but really for these teachers that you're supporting for the champions community and then for their students too because that love that passion trickles down to them. So oh, I'm so inspired by you. But you're talking about all the like the culture and the diversity in Latin America. And so I'm curious, Latin America has such a vibrant educational landscape. Is there one trend or innovative practice that you're seeing right now in Latin America in education that you think the rest of the world should be paying attention to?
Well, I guess in Latin America, we are very good at working with very little, doing very much with very little. We don't have many resources in terms of many things. Like we don't have, we have schools with poor connectivity, with not enough equipment. Teachers are sometimes undertrained because they don't have access to many teachers. Most of our teachers don't speak English, and most of the tools and the courses that the world offers, especially when we talk about AI, is offered in English. So there is a gap. It's a cultural gap, it's a social economic gap. And but even though we sometimes our educators don't really have the tools that they need, they do so much, and they are creative. They use whatever they have and they innovate. So I have, for example, one friend from my academy, from the BRZ 24. She created a whole AI literacy journey without technology, like without computers. Her challenge, her project was all paper based, and conversation based, but she was teaching AI literacy. We call that unplugged AI literacy, but she was doing what Latin American teachers do every day, but she did that with a spice of innovation. So it is, I guess that's the biggest challenge. You have to, you are create we are creative, and we don't depend on technology for that. I usually say that technology doesn't make me work less, it makes me work better, because if I can do so much with so little, imagine if I have the right tools at my hand. So that's basically, I guess, the biggest difference or the biggest trend from our educators.
That's absolutely amazing. And we've been talking to different podcasters about, like, in America, we need to get a different perspective, right? Like, you are able to do so much, like you said, with so little, and this idea of technology being able to bridge the gap, but also thinking about helping you to do more, but making sure that you have that creative perspective within all of that, right? So now that you're this person who's inside, like you're an insider at Google, right? Like, what is one thing you think Google could design better, or something they could improve for teachers now that you are in this space of saying, hey, I'm inside Google, I'm in Google for Education, hopefully won't get in trouble for this, but like, what is that one thing you're like, you know what, if Google could redesign this one thing in the space where I'm at, what could they do better? And then I'll do a quick follow-up question with that too.
Well, I guess localization is right now my biggest wish, because as I told you, we have a lot of great tools, a lot of great features that are only available in English. So I guess this, for me, it's my biggest dream right now, that things could go available in Portuguese, Spanish, Japanese, and whatever other languages at the same time as they are available in English, because uh, it, as a global community, I guess that would make a lot of difference. And that's not a secret. I speak up for that every time I can to anyone I can. So and I guess it's from our teachers in Latin America, is there also their dream. For example, we have Gemini in Google Classroom, but it's only available in English right now. So if the in Brazil doesn't are not is not comfortable with English, they would have trouble using it. So I guess that's it.
I like that perspective. I think that morphs together. So here's on the positive end of that. Like, now that you are in Google and you probably know a ridiculous amount of all the tools and you hear ideas from all the champions and everyone that you're working with, what's one thing you would wish, like a Google design or a Google tool that you wish you had back in your classroom when you were teaching? Like, oh, I wish I had had this or knew about it. This would have been perfect.
Well, I will say that as a professor and a postgraduate student, Notebook LM, I spent hours, days, months reading. And I took too long to start writing my thesis during my PhD, because I had to read a lot, and I would spend days and days analyzing data, which I could probably do in minutes using Notebook LM and Gemini. So I would say without a shadow, without a glimpse, that it would be Notebook LM, because it would save me some hours of hard work. And I'm the kind of, remember those detective movies where people spread the paper on the floor and the post-its and the colorful pens. I'm that person when it comes to writing. So I had all the text I had to analyze. I had them printed out, and I would use different colors to highlight the things I needed to analyze. Well, my life would be so easy if it was now. So, yeah.
Well, I imagine just like what you said with everything else, it wouldn't have been easy because you would have just taken it to that next level. Like that's the common theme in all of this. It's that since you had all of your post-its and I can just picture it like the strings going
Yeah.
across. But if you had it, I mean, you would be like running Google by now.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's amazing. So you are a true inspiration. And so I'm hoping you can help give some innovators and prospective innovators out there some advice because we have this community and we always have these massive world changing ideas, but then we very often feel limited by the walls of our district, by imposter syndrome. Like you said, we feel not worthy. So is there one piece of advice or like one action step that you would tell to this community of innovators who are really looking to you as a role model that can help them to like move beyond it and expand their impact?
Well, I would say a few things. The first is not to give up, because not only talking about becoming an innovator, but about anything. I was accepted in the academy in my third attempt. I tried for the first time in 2019. Then there was the first virtual academy during the pandemics. I wasn't accepted as well. And then in 2024, I was accepted. But then when I joined, I understood why I wasn't accepted earlier. But I couldn't figure before because I was so worried about my ideas of a solution or what I wanted to do and not about the problem itself. So it's like a cliche for innovators to say, fall in love with the problem. But that's the true. You don't need to fall in love with the solution because you shouldn't know what the solution is until you join the academy. If you know, you shouldn't be there. You should leave the place to someone else who needs to figure out the solution. And the second thing would be, well, I felt my problem was not important enough or big enough. And what I did was I talked to other educators. I before I designed the problem or the challenge itself, I asked people, what is your biggest challenge right now? And I asked a lot of people, a lot of educators. I sent them WhatsApp messages or emails, and I collected these answers, and I tried to find a common ground, and it was pretty much that. So if it's something that bothers you and bothers so many other people, it doesn't need to be like the solution of the world, but your world. You need to worry about your world first, and then when you make your world better, you will make the walls will not be a problem anymore. So I would say talk to other people, take notes. Don't try to impose your ideas, just listen, and you might see that your project or your challenge is not that simple or not that easy to solve, because it's affecting a lot of other people out there, and maybe people in different countries too.
Wow. We're not even done recording this episode, and I already can't wait to go back and listen to it because I just want to write down everything you said. I mean, what an inspiration. So, before we sign off, I just want to know, is there anything in particular that you have coming up that you want to promote to the community? Anything you want to share, or is there a way for people to get in touch with you?
Well, I would say that you keep tuned in our community hub for those who are champions, because we keep posting interesting things and good opportunities there. And if you are not a champion yet, you are part of our community in the same way. But I would say that you keep your eyes open to the GGs in your region, because usually the GGs are the connection between us, like Google, and the community. So here we have, in Latin America, we have GG Brazil and GG Hispano, which are the biggest GGs, like the clusters that reunite our community. So we keep posting tips and resources and ideas. So I guess this works for every region. If you are close to a GG leader, just follow this person and you will probably leave more inspired and learn much more just by being around them. So, and if you need to reach out to me, I have, my Instagram is open to all of you, my LinkedIn as well. It's Mariana Hayes, Prof, as professor, or professora. So you feel free, you're more than welcome to join. And that's it. I hope I see some of you who are listening to this episode in our cohorts this year.
So you have all heard it. Thank you so much, Mariana. I can't agree more with Liz that this was just absolutely brilliant to be like, I was afraid I couldn't make it in 2019 to being like a Google impact coordinator or manager at this point in your life. So thank you so much for sharing your journey. If anybody of our listeners has something that ignited an idea or something, please go ahead and leave comments to us and let us know. If you are an aspiring innovator and want to come on the podcast, come talk to us. If you are a past innovator, we'd love to hear your story and how over time it has progressed. And we all have come from this place where, like Liz has mentioned, and myself as well, that we are inspired just talking to all of these past innovators, because we have seen that everyone has gone through a process of failure. And so it's just amazing to celebrate all of these successes, but to realize where you thought you started and where you ended up now can be two totally different places. So remember to keep innovating. We'll see you guys next time. Stay connected, stay inspired, and keep it unscripted.